taken, and is that going to affect the way that the survey is put out this year?
No,
Is it?
so we're fully digital anyway with our survey. We do have the odd client that still requests paper surveys, but it's very, very rare. And so for sort of most wired employees, it's all done electronically anyway.
Yeah.
One area, I talk about some of the positive outcomes of what we've been through collectively this past year. I do think there's a little bit of a gap for camaraderie. So there was one statement that had a sort of, the only statement that had a significant decrease was, this is a fun place to work. We celebrate special events as a team. So I think, we've learned how to be efficient. We've learned how to communicate. Maybe we haven't quite learned how to celebrate online. I mean, have you guys been on like one of those forced 1 hour Zoom calls early in the pandemic?
We have tried
They're
desperately
horrible.
to kind of do it. We tried to do a, like a happy hour on Fridays at 5 o'clock. We tried to, Mel can speak more to this. She's in charge of our social committee.
And I mean, with COVID, obviously, we had to get a little bit creative. We couldn't do most of the activities that we spend lots of money doing every year. Like we'd go watch a game or we'd go camping or do something really fun. But with the pandemic, we're kind of stuck online. People are having Zoom fatigue, but we figured it out. Like we have our weekly Thursday night game night, and that's still fun to us because, again, it's like an hour of non-work conversation where we could play games and just relax. And then as Shale said, there's like our Friday happy hour where it's an hour of you bring whatever you're drinking, drinker or non-drinker, and you just chillax for a full hour. Again, we leave work aside and we're just talking to each other one-on-one, catching up, and just having a good time. And that's how we've sort of connected.
But it's not the same as us going out to restaurants and kind of sitting together, and it isn't. We can't make it. I think that's what Alison can certainly jump in. But I think that's what she's saying is that it's not the same. You can. There's only so much socialization that you can do looking at a screen.
That's true.
Yeah.
But for people like me I like to call myself an introvert, but people probably see me as the opposite. But I like it because you still can be behind a screen and then you can do it more often. So you don't have to be in person all the time. So people might prefer that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, like I say, we'll see. The companies I've been talking to, the ones that are actively sort of reassessing their office space, their brick and mortar, and there are a lot of companies doing that. They are thinking of a redesign so that the future physical office space is not like a whole bunch of rows of cubicles, but it's more collaborative spaces and it's more celebration, social spaces. So when you do go into work, you can kind of heads down and get your work done at home. But when you do go into the office, it's really expressly for the purpose of collaborating, talking to people, socializing. Right. So I've heard some neat stuff about, what companies are, we used to have this many square feet, it was all cubicles. Now, because we're hybrid, we only need half that many cubicles. So now we have a games room and a kitchen and a bar and, different things like that. So I think that's going to be really exciting. Yeah. I have worked from home for 15 years and loved it, right? Because I'm based in BC and our head office is in Toronto. Right. So it wasn't really a big change for me, but I must say, not being able to visit clients, that's been tough, right? Because I would spend a lot of time visiting clients. Not being able to visit my colleagues has been tough. Yeah. And I think it's just one thing we still need to work on is how to really connect and how to really be close to what your colleagues are facing when in a totally virtual world.
Yeah, but I think that we can find that balance. Certainly when the pandemic, and now it's kind of easing up and the reality is kind of hitting us, is that we can now, let's look 3 months down the road. And we have said that, in September, it's funny that you had mentioned that don't give a hard date, and we haven't given a hard date. We were just after Labor Day. we are going to spend September getting ourselves into a place where we can now be in a hybrid. And we know there's going to be some bumps. We know there's going to be some challenges, but we can take our time and get through those as long as we can keep up our KPIs and ensure that everyone is doing what they absolutely need to do to keep our clients happy. We can also take our time to kind of build what this new world is going to look like.
Yeah.